So one of the biggest issues that people have with bodybuilding is that it tends to be boring, right? Same sort of bodybuilding exercises, biceps, back, blah, blah, blah. Strongman can actually be one of the best tools to spice up your bodybuilding and hypertrophy training and get you super, super jacked, right? So Brittany, Matt, farmers.
Yeah, so to use this as a bodybuilder, which I'm currently training for bodybuilding and I'm using farmer's walks in my training. I'm doing this for longer runs and more sets. So again, higher volume, which is what you would do for bodybuilding anyway. The difference is strongman, you might hit a couple heavy sets or one top super heavy set. With bodybuilding, you're keeping it in a more of a medium weight range. But let's go over some technique first, just for those who don't know. So one, I'm gonna bring these together. Farmers are a grip, or you're working a grip, of course. You're also working your traps, your upper back. If you ever look at top strongmen, they have massive upper backs. So if you're a bodybuilder, you want a bigger upper back, this is where it's at. So first, grip. You might think it's just simple, just reach down and grab them. You want to dig your hands in here really deep. So if that bar is here, it might feel a little more comfortable. Your grip will not be as good. I'm gonna put that bar deep in my palm down to here and then dig it in, and my grip will be far, far better. It's gonna pinch more, but this is strongman. It's gonna hurt a little bit, right? So when I come in here, I'm gonna push my hands down into it and then wrap around. And one thing, if you can see here, my hands are also cocked a little back, so the weights are gonna tilt forward as I go. The reason for that is when the weights tip forward a hair, it's gonna propel me a little faster forward, okay? From here, it's a normal trap bar style deadlift. I'm gonna drop my butt down, head and chest up, big breath in, brace. I'm gonna start out with short, choppy steps, and I'm gonna pick up speed, okay? So for rep ranges or for distance, I would like to say 3-4 sets. You can even do this if you have the space for it. 100 feet runs are great here. If you don't have the space for it, you can do 50 feet down, repick 50 feet back. One thing I've done here for bodybuilding with these is I talked to Sweet about this, is using 5th set, which you might think is a little crazy kind of moving event, but it kicks your ass and it works. Where you can do 4 sets of 25 feet, a little shorter, and then your 5th one, go for max distance. Again, if you have the room for it, just keep going. If you don't have the room for it, which most of us don't, you keep repicking and keep on going. Great for hypertrophy for your upper back.
Cool. Anything you want to throw on?
Yeah, the only other thing I would add, so when I transitioned from strongman to bodybuilding and I started training with more bodybuilders, I noticed a lot of them, even guys that were way stronger than me, had no grip whatsoever. Like even on rows and stuff, they would always have to, put straps on, wraps, and they were like, wow, how's your grip like that? I'm like, strongman. So I do one little grip tip, especially if you are a bodybuilder just started getting into this, is to take a wrist wrap and right before you go, put it on extremely tight. Again, you only want to do this right before you go, because what's going to happen is if it's on tight, it's going to inhibit you from opening all the way. That way, because I'm guessing when you're doing these, well, not guessing, it's the truth. When you're doing these for bodybuilding, hypertrophy work, obviously you don't want your grip to be a limiting factor, which is a big difference from when I was just training strongman. I would never want to use anything like that.
All right, guys, exercise number 2. Brittany, arm over arm.
Yeah, so I just discovered this last week and figured it'd be good for bodybuilding and strongman. So typically for some of the bicep movements, I'll do what Matt was talking about earlier, or I'll add back grips to everything. But I decided I wanted to do some strongman, and I was like, why not do an arm over arm pull? Now, typically for strongman, I would do this seated, but I didn't feel like setting it up, so I just threw a sled on, got a big rope, and just pulled it for 2 sets. And when I tell you, I forgot that strongman uses every single muscle in your body. My hands, my forearms, every single part of my bicep, tricep, and even my chest, and my shoulders were fried too. So this is definitely a good one. So I think Matt's gonna demo it, right?
Yeah.
With Sam on.
Hop on, buddy.
Yep. So I get paid big bucks.
So if you watch him, he's literally just doing arm over arm, which is a staple in strongman. And his biceps getting a good pump. I'm sure he's gonna feel this. I would typically programming it probably more for a finisher. You're not gonna wanna start with that. And then do, like an arm workout, that's gonna fry you pretty good. Also some conditioning work in there too.
Which coming off there. Keep going. Good.
Yeah. I'll get more bang.
All the way to you.
Let's do it.
All the way.
You gotta finish.
All the way. Objects on sled are fatter than they appear.
2 feet. And then I'll let Matt Tell me how his biceps feel.
Whew, that's a good pump right
What
there.
hurts
I'm
more,
tired.
your lungs or your biceps?
Whew, pretty even actually.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of both, which is what you want.
So yeah, I would just program, honestly, for those, you can stay pretty light and just do 3 to 4 sets, or you can even just do one heavy one. You'll definitely feel that.
All right, guys, exercise number 3. We're gonna use a log press, the log press bar out of a rack. I know not all of you have this, but we could also substitute this for a neutral grip bar, a football bar, just something more of a neutral grip.
Yeah, to our strongman people, if you have a log, you can also put it in a rack. If you have the safeties, you can raise them up, do them inside the rack like that too. So any number of those reasons work. The reason we're going over this, it has neutral grips. So a lot of people have issues on a regular bar. It's like bench pressing. A lot of people can't bench with the straight bar because it bothers their shoulders, but they can use a football bar or a neutral grip bar, and that's a lot easier on their shoulders. No different here. I found a lot of people don't do overhead enough. In bodybuilding, usually you hit some shoulders, but powerlifters not quite as much. And I really feel everyone should be doing some kind of overhead press in their training. I don't care what you're training for, bodybuilding, strongman, powerlifting. You should do some kind of an overhead press. This is one of my favorite ones because I just love the log. I know Brittany loves doing the log too. And this is the one that's nice. It's easy in the shoulders, easy in the joints. Because you have more room here, you don't feel you have to force the range of motion. Like someone like me, I have a banged up elbow where I can't go down all the way to the bar, but I can bring this log down to my collarbone and get a full range of motion with it. So how this is gonna look is, this log does weigh 100 pounds. It is pretty heavy. It's great that I can fit in a rack like this. So I'm gonna come in, bring it up to my chin. My elbows are gonna be in, not out. So it's very important to have them in line like this. I'm gonna squeeze my quads, squeeze my glutes, take a breath, get in tight. And then as I press it, I'm gonna drive my head through so it's right over me. What you don't wanna do is lean back as you do it. You have to lean back initially, but as soon as you press it past your head, head through. So just like this, bring down, head through. Right here, and then head through. So if we were to talk about sets and rep ranges, you can still do your typical hypertrophy range right here, 3 sets, 8 to 10. I'll tell you actually, if I can talk about Josh Bryant, Jailhouse Strong, one thing he had me do here that blew my shoulders up was we did rest pause sets where I would work at, let's say 75% of my max, and I would do a set max reps, 20-second rest, max reps, 20-second rest, max reps again. Those killed me in a very, very good way. It got me stronger in the overhead press, and it got my shoulders a lot bigger and stronger.